I am Elizabeth Hargrave. I'm the president of the Mycological Association of Washington, and welcome to our July meeting. Let me share my screen. Yep, so tonight I'm going to go over a little bit of club news and some fungi in the news. Mitch Fournay is going to do our virtual ID table with pictures people have been taking of mushrooms. Annie Weissman's going to talk a little bit about how she uses iNaturalist to do things. And then Nathan Wilson is going to talk about Mushroom Observer, which is a whole other system that you can use to make community science observations of mushrooms and get help IDing mushrooms. Oh, and actually, I should go back. I wanted to point out, if you haven't found them yet, the chanterelles are definitely booming right now. So, first thing in club news are a couple of recent events. We were just invited to be at the Folklife Festival as part of the Fields and Forest track within the Earth Optimism section of the Folklife Festival, which so I think Earth Optimism is ongoing this week, but they have swapped out the different booths within it. But anyway, they had us there talking about mushrooms for 5 days, Thursday through Monday. It was great. Thank you to everyone who spent time in the booth and who brought stuff in, or even who stopped by to say hi. We had a lot of just curious people stopping by. It was a very good reminder about how little a lot of people know about mushrooms. We had maybe 20 species that we had found beforehand and had them out on the table, and there were a lot of people who seemed really amazed that there are 20 species of mushrooms growing in Washington DC, and most of us know that there are hundreds. So it was fun. We had a puffball that the kids were puffing, and we heard interesting stories from people around the world too. There was a woman from Eritrea who talked about how she remembered in her village people coming back with big sacks of foraged mushrooms for people to eat, and met a guy from Peru who had studied mushrooms in Peru but knows nothing about them here. It was a great event. So thank you for everyone who made that possible. April recruited a chef who gave a cooking demonstration, lots and lots of fun stuff. And then yesterday we had a picnic organized mostly by April Thompson, and then John stepped up to help run that when April got sick, and lots of people stepped in and helped cook and brought yummy food. So thanks everyone who came out for that. It was a great event. Let's see, we had grilled mushroom burgers and some grilled umbrella polypore oyster mushrooms. Someone brought this amazing puff pastry. There was mushroom pizza. There was mushroom tabbouleh. I'm probably forgetting stuff. It was great.
And our former culinary chair, Ray LaSala, showed up to help cook too.
Yeah, that's him grilling the burgers there. One other recent event that y'all might want to jump on. So MAW for years has had a Facebook page, but we have never made it an interactive group, just because it felt like a lot to moderate. But we had some people, when I sent out a call for volunteers, who said they were happy to help out with running some social media stuff for us. So we have created a Facebook group. It will ask you if you are a member of MAW when you go to join it. So it's going to be a members only Facebook group for now. We'll see how it goes. Right now, 38 people of you have found it, but hopefully more folks will jump in there, and we can have it be a place where people can share pictures and articles that they find and whatever else you want to use it for those of you who are on Facebook. So help us figure that all out and come on in. All right, lots of upcoming stuff. So our next monthly meeting is August 2nd. They're always on the first Tuesday of the month. And then on August 14th, there is going to be a full day mushroom cultivation workshop in Garrett County, Maryland, at a farm called Brokeback Farm, which is some folks that we know from other mushrooming events over the years. And they're going to have a foray at Blackwater Falls the day before that you can sort of sign up separately, but as an add-on. It's on the events page on the MAW website, but it'll have a link where you go and actually sign up through their website. So if that's something interesting to you, go check that out. And then our biggest event of the year is a weekend-long foray up in Jennerstown, Pennsylvania, at a conference center called Sequinoda. We're doing it over Labor Day weekend this year, so it'll be 3 days. We've got about 60 people signed up already. Right now, your on-site housing options are limited to, there's plenty of room for people to camp. And then this year, we are also getting them to open up some of their cabins to us, which are summer camp cabins. So skinny mattresses, but if you have a group of friends, you want to claim a cabin, if you have at least 4 people, I think it is, we can just give you your own cabin. Or if you are interested in staying in one of the cabins, we can sort of assign you with other people. And then there's some hotels down the road too in Jennerstown, but I think it's fun to stay on site. All the private rooms in what you guys might know as Bower Socks are all taken already. Anything else I should say about Sequinoda? Oh, there are some scholarships available for students who want to go to Sequinoda. The application is on our website. And those applications are due a month ahead of time, so at the beginning of August. So take a look at that if you know a student who might want to come to Sequinoda. October 16th is the Mushroom Fair at Brookside Gardens. We're getting way down the line here, but just for a little bit of advanced planning, in addition to the scholarships for Sequinoda, MAW also has some research grants available for students. So far, we've given a couple of them out to graduate students who are doing interesting things, and then they come and do a presentation to the club about the research that they did with our funding. So the deadline for that this year is October 31st, if you know anyone who might be interested in that. And then Tom McCoy is going to run the photo contest again, and he wants photos by November, which is far away, but good to be thinking about taking nice pictures in advance of that deadline. A few other non-MAW forays and classes that you might want to have on your radar. Todd McCoy, who I just mentioned, who does the photo contest, has been up to a few events at the Eagle Hill Institute in Maine and just raves about them. And they have a week-long class coming up called Mushroom ID for new mycophiles that he recommended. And I think he's even arranged for them to give MAW members a discount on that workshop, but it is way up in Maine. Closer to home, the West Virginia Mushroom Club's annual foray is one that I have been to many times and definitely recommend. It's in a great area, Blackwater Falls State Park. And that's at the end of July. You can sign up on their website. Tom also forwarded that there's a mushroom club in Eastern Pennsylvania that has a foray in early August. So you can check that one out. And then the North American Mycological Association has its annual foray. That one travels around the country, and this year it's in Missouri at the end of September. Lots going on. So just a few little articles that passed through my inbox this month. This is an article that was published in Nature. It's a pretty high profile, where they took several different lichen-forming fungi and did a DNA analysis of pretty extensive pieces of their genome, and compared them to other mushrooms, other fungi. And honestly, I only understood about 50% of the language in the article, but my takeaway from it was that I should probably back up for people who aren't familiar. So lichens, we know, are a symbiotic relationship between at least one fungus and at least one algae or other photosynthesizing organism. They work together, and the fungus gets its carbohydrates from the blue-green algae. And what the study found was that lichens have actually started losing some of their genes that are associated with the ways that other fungi get their carbohydrates, because they have developed their own system of symbiosis with the blue-green algae. So I thought that was really interesting. And then they also compared some mycorrhizal fungi. Their DNA have lost some of these genes in the same way that the lichens have, because they are also not breaking down plant materials. They've lost the genes that allow them to break down plant material, because they're just getting their carbohydrates in other ways. And then the paper also identified newer genes that lichens have, that lichen-forming fungi have, that other fungi seem not to have, that seem to be specific to that lifestyle of the lichens and their symbiosis. So if you want to geek out on fungus DNA, you can check that one out. And a couple articles about psychedelics in high profile places. The New York Times reported that the VA has some clinical trials underway using psychedelics in psychotherapy for post-traumatic stress. Not only psilocybin, but I think also MDMA maybe, and maybe ketamine, I forget. But definitely the article talks a fair amount about psychedelic mushrooms as part of those studies. So that is continuing to get attention. And then Rolling Stone, I just saw this article today. This is a fascinating article about the use of psychedelic mushrooms and ayahuasca in Utah. There's this guy who is a former Utah state senator, who was like hardcore Mormon state senator, who has left the church and founded his own church based on using psychedelics. And apparently it is also a trend within people who are still within the Church of Latter-day Saints, that there's just a lot of spiritual seekers who are using psychedelics. I thought it was a really interesting article, as Rolling Stone long form articles often are. So you can check that one out. And then this audio interview also came through my inbox. There's a program that Wisconsin Public Radio puts out called To the Best of Our Knowledge. And they have a very nice, like half-hour, 40-minute interview with Merlin Sheldrake, who wrote a long-form book called Entangled Life, something like that. That's all about fungi. I just thought it was a really nice interview, so you can check that out as well. And that is all I have for this month. So I will turn things over to Mitch for the ID table.